What if I told you the villain in your story is not your enemy, but your teacher? That the person who hurt you most may be your greatest spiritual ally. We call them by many names: narcissists, abusers, tyrants, destroyers. But what if, just what if, they are something else entirely? They are the dark angels, the souls who volunteered to come here and play the hardest roles, the darkest characters, not to condemn you, but to awaken you, to push you to your edge so you could finally meet you. Now, I know that sounds outrageous, even offensive, but pause, breathe, and let's explore this together, not with the mind, but with the soul. Dolores Cannon, who spent decades regressing thousands of people into past lives and in between states, revealed that some souls agree to take on darkness in this life, not because they are evil, but because someone must carry the contrast. Someone must spark the friction that forges the flame. Without the dark, we would never know our light. Think about it. Would you have awakened without the heartbreak? Would you have found your strength without the betrayal? Would you have risen without being pushed down? It is in the moments of greatest pain that we are cracked open, and only then can the light get in. Ram Dass once said, "We're all just walking each other home, but some of us are walking with thorns in our side." And some souls, out of divine love, agreed to be those thorns, not to torture us, but to awaken what is sleeping. The ego wants revenge. The soul wants growth. The ego cries, "Why me?" The soul whispers, "Remember why you came." Most people live their entire lives identifying with the surface, judging, reacting, hating. But what if you came not to match that vibration, but to elevate it? That's the test. That's the mission. To love in the face of hate. To be kind when the world is cruel. To stay soft in a world that tried to harden you. Eckhart Tolle teaches that pain is not the enemy. Unconsciousness is. And when we fight hate with hate, we feed the very thing we came to dissolve. You didn't come here to become bitter. You came here to become light. To recognize the difference between real power and artificial power. Between the illusion of wealth, money, fame, approval, and the truth of wealth, peace, compassion, presence, purpose. The ego chases control. The soul seeks understanding. And when you start to see life through the soul's eyes, everything changes. You stop asking, "How can I win?" and start asking, "How can I grow?" Every person becomes a mirror. Every struggle, an opportunity. Every villain, a disguised angel, inviting you to break the chains of reaction and rise into response. Neville Goddard taught that everyone is you pushed out, that the people you meet are playing roles in a script that your soul helped write, not to punish, but to awaken. And when you pass this test, when you refuse to lower your frequency to match theirs, you become something powerful, unshakable, untriggered, untouchable. Because your peace no longer depends on external circumstances. It comes from within, from alignment, from presence, from soul awareness. So the next time someone wrongs you, pause, breathe, and instead of reacting, ask, "What am I being invited to learn here? How can I love myself through this? How can I respond with grace, not weakness, but spiritual strength?" This doesn't mean you allow abuse. It means you rise above it, rather than become it. You protect your peace without poisoning your heart. You set boundaries without building walls. You stand in power without becoming cruel. And maybe, just maybe, one day you'll look back and realize that the very person who broke you helped you find your wholeness. That your greatest enemies were actually your deepest initiations. And that the darkness in others was the spark that lit your inner flame. This is the alchemy of the soul, This is how we graduate Earth. And in the end, you'll realize the game was never about avoiding pain. It was about learning to transmute it, to love anyway, to shine anyway, to rise anyway. Because that is who you truly are. A soul, a warrior, a volunteer, and maybe even someone else's angel in disguise. It's easy to look at the world and say, this planet is cruel, unfair, broken. But what we often forget is that we are the ones projecting and multiplying that energy through our reactions. The more we resist what is, the more we fight hate with hate, fear with fear, the more we reinforce the very energies we wish to escape. Earth doesn't simply exist as it is. It becomes what we feed into it. Every judgment we cast, every grudge we carry, every moment we let pain harden us, becomes part of the fabric of the collective. But here's the power you hold. The moment you choose to respond with understanding instead of offense, with forgiveness instead of vengeance, with compassion instead of ego, you are not only healing yourself, you are healing the entire planet. Now imagine this. A young woman is fired unjustly from her job, betrayed by a colleague she once called a friend. The pain is real. The betrayal cuts deep. The ego screams, get revenge, expose her, make her pay. But instead, she breathes. She pauses. She remembers. This is a test. Instead of retaliation, she begins to focus inward, healing, forgiving, realigning. She writes a thank you letter to the experience because it showed her the truth, freed her from a toxic place, and guided her toward a better path. And later, she launches her own business, built on the values of trust, kindness, and integrity. Not only does she rise, she becomes a source of light for others. Now imagine if she had chosen anger, spite, bitterness. The chain reaction would have continued. More pain, more drama, more fear in the world. But by breaking the pattern, she broke the illusion. This is how the world changes, not through blame, but through bravery. Not through force, but through frequency. Every time you rise above your programming, you ripple out healing. Every time you love in the face of hate, you restore balance to this earth. It may not be easy, but it's always worth it. Because as you elevate, so does everything. There's a beautiful story from the life of the Buddha that illustrates this perfectly. One day, a man came to him, filled with anger, and began shouting insults, cursing him, trying to provoke a reaction. But Buddha simply sat, calm and unmoved, offering only a gentle smile. Later, his puzzled disciple asked, "Master, how could you not react? How did his words not upset you?" Buddha replied, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong? You see, when you don't accept someone's anger, it stays with them. You don't have to carry what was never yours. You don't have to let their darkness become your weight. This is not weakness. It's mastery. It's the kind of calm strength that lifts you out of the karmic loop and shifts the entire energy of a space. This is the vibration of awakening, the invitation to hold peace, even when chaos knocks at your door.